In the previous video, we learned about what tables, views, and stored procedures are. And going forward in this video, what we're going to be learning about are the types of commands that are used in SQL. So there are four types of commands, being data definition language, data manipulation language, data control language, and finally transaction control language. We're going to look at each individual language inside of SQL. So let's go ahead and get into a MySQL server, root, type P. Alright, and then we're going to use the Creative Online School database. So we can view all the tables that are here and see our tables. So what we're going to work with first is data definition language, or DDL. And what DDL is it is simply the commands that are used to actually create and alter any information. So a more formal definition for it is a standard for commands that define the different structures in a database. So one of the structures being such as a table, or maybe the columns inside of a table, whatever the structure of it is going to be a data definition language. So we can use create table cats, and then we'll just have ID is integer, not null, auto increment, and then just name var char 30. Primary key is going to be ID. And so what we just did is we used create to create a table, and we have defined another structure for this database. So we can show tables, and there we go, we have table cats. What data manipulation is, so going into DML, the next language, is the actual process or the statements used to manipulate the data. So what I mean by this is what is actually stored on a table. So data manipulation has two parts. It has the statement. So the statements are going to be such as insert, select, delete, update. So it's used for anything that is stored or retrieve any information. And then it has clauses, which is going to be from, where, stuff like that, that will tell you what the statement acts on. So we can do an insert statement, insert into cats, name, values, let's just say kitty. So what this will do is we're using the data manipulation language to actually insert information into cats. So we can view that it's there. Oh, excuse me, I forgot from. So also this select statement is also a data manipulation language because we're viewing the data. So going into the DCL, which is data control language, this is used for giving control or using admin privileges. So it's used by administrators to configure security access in relational databases. It complements the DDL and DML, where it allows or denies people, certain users, certain DDL or DML processes. So there are two commands in the data control language, which are grant and revoke. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create another user and grant them privileges so that we can see how the grant and revoke work. So we're going to grant all privileges on, so we have to define the actual database that we want to grant privileges on. And then we're supposed to define the table, but we're just going to say everything. And then we're going to make a username Baker at localhost. And then we'll set up a password, call it just password. Oh, excuse me. I spelled identified wrong. I always do that. So we can actually exit and log in as Baker now, using password PASSWD, use creative. So the first thing actually I should show you is show databases. If you noticed, we have less databases here because we are only granted access to the Creative Online School database. So we're going to use Creative Online School, then show tables. So you can see that we can do whatever we want here inside of the tables from cats. And okay, so let's go back and log in as our root user. And what we're going to do is we're going to revoke, let's do select. Select on Creative Online School star from Baker at localhost. Alright, so now we can exit and log back in as Baker. If we want to use Creative Online School. And now if we try, we can show the table still. So we can show tables, but if we do select star from cats, what it's going to do is going to give us an error saying that we do not have the privileges. So this is how the revoke and grant commands work in the data control language. So it's used for just basic privileges and stuff like that. So however, you can see that we can still use insert. So insert into cats name values kitty cat. So we can see that we inserted it, but we are not allowed to view again. So we'll exit from here and go back into our root user. Creative Online School. And then we'll select star from cats. And you can see that it was actually inserted into the table by another user, but we just weren't allowed to actually view it in that user because we revoked the select command. So you can do this with any type of command inside of SQL, just grant or revoke. Next we'll move to transaction control language. This is actually used for merging commands and used for such as rolling back and using a save point. So if you are familiar with Git, what you can do is you can save a spot and you can branch off and go back to that certain spot. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to start transaction. So start transaction. Excuse me. And so now what we can do is set a save point. We can save point and we'll just say first save. And now we're going to mess with the table a little bit. So insert into cats, a name and values. Let's just do Mary. And let's make another save point. Second save. And we'll insert one more thing. So I'm going to show you the table right now from cats. So you can see that we have Mary in there, and now we're going to insert another item. We'll just put my name in there, and we'll look at it again. So now we have 4 items on the table. However, if I do roll back, and then second save, roll back 2, excuse me. What did I name this? Oh, I spelled it wrong. That's why. I have trouble with my ends sometimes. So we'll just roll back to the actual point that we need to. Roll back 2, and then we can select star from cats, and there we go. We have successfully rolled back a step. So we rolled back from the step where we had David, and now we don't have David anymore. And we can roll back to the first save as well. And then here we go. And then if you want to end your transaction, what you do is just press commit, and now there are no rollbacks. So this save point doesn't exist because we have committed and stopped our transaction. I hope that this was helpful for understanding the types of commands that are used in SQL. And in the next video, what we're going to be looking at is actually the conditions used by SQL for certain columns and how to define them. Again, my name is David Baker, and this video is brought to you by CreativeOnlineSchool.com.